boy T-Will. Got an ad.
Got a what?
Boy T-Will got an ad.
That look like it.
Praise the Lord, we'll start in just a second.
That's that, but.
A couple more
I
songs.
called him with that one time.
We'll get right to it.
Boy T-Will, boy, you came up by see. Oh boy, they slob.
Hey, it looks like that.
Somebody else T-Will.
Right. Trav, we ready? We ready?
Yeah, I'm waiting on the other part. Yeah, we start praise and worship.
What's up, brother? You all right? Ready to start school back yet? You ready? What grade you gonna be in? What grade you gonna be in? All right. He said he was waiting on you.
My bad. I'm like, hey, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Hey, that's my bad.
Life is short. Don't waste yours listening to old music. Get your claims paid.
Here, just. Oh! You what? Do I have one?
Hold on.
I can get one.
I see you 1 second, real quick.
Are you?
For that, for the one he's lead, do you want the music on it?
What color? Black. What color's on it?
Yeah.
That same color? It's blue.
Are you want me to do that in your car?
Yeah.
It's blue. Okay. What color? That same like that. Huh? What? Oh, gray. It's blue. It's blue. Like you see that blue, like with Sister Michelle, her scarf. It's a little bit blue like that, like her shirt. One day. Man, just because you made it up, you made me the handshake knocker. Can I put my own spin on it? No, man, you ain't used to do this. You ain't used to grab that full time. I'm sorry. Dear Brother Mark used to do it like 20 times.
What is it happening?
He started up with his
We used to shake. We used to like, one shot. Yeah, see? You gotta allow brothers to put their own spin on it.
You want to start off with that? Yeah. You want to start off with that? Soundman, please report to the booth. 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 Soundman, please report. Yeah, soundman. You are the designated driver. He said soundman. 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 Sure. One more check, sis. All right, y'all. The whole congregation is out of pocket right now. Y'all want me to tell y'all why? Y'all about to let us start praise and worship without praying in? You know what? I blame B.
That's how you recorded that you were stretching.
Right. All right, y'all. All minds clear? Hallelujah. All right. Deuteronomy or Devarim, chapter 6 and verse 4. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Echad. This is Exodus or Shemot chapter 20, beginning at verse 3. We will have no other mighty ones against the Most High. We will not make any carved image or any likeness of that which is in Shamayim above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. We will not bow down to them, nor serve them. And who are ill is a jealous ill, visiting the wicked of the fathers on the children, to the third and fourth generation of those that hate him, but showing kindness to thousands of those who love him and keep his commandments. We will not bring the name of Yahuwah to nothing, but Yahuwah will not leave us unpunished, who brings his name to nothing. We will remember the Shabbat day and keep it Kodesh. 6 days we will labor and do all our work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat. Yahuwah born 6 days. Yahuwah made Shamayim and the earth and the sea and all that is in them. And the rest of the seventh day, therefore Yahuwah Barak the Shabbat day. We will respect our fathers and our mothers, so that our days are long upon the earth. We will not murder. We will not commit adultery. We will not steal. We will not bear false witness against our neighbor. We will not covet anything that is our neighbor.
Father, y'all, we give thanks for this day, Father. We pray and ask, Father, that you would open your ears and incline your ears into our prayers and we ask, Father, with one mouth, with one heart, with one mind, and one accord, Father, that your Ruach would be with us on this day, Father. That you would allow utterance to go forth, Father, and understanding to be received, Father, by the hearer, that we all may be doers of your word, Father. Father, we pray that your word will go forth without obstacle, Father, to be received with thanksgiving and gladness, that your word will be rightly divided, Father, on this day. Father, we pray that any soul that is in transit, you allow them to make it here safely. We thank you for every soul that is gathered together here today, Father, but to give reverence unto your name, Father. All these things we pray and we give thanks for Shemir Huawei, we call you the short Mashiach, and we welcome the death, so be it.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I'm trying to stay there.
Everybody say, I came here to praise y'all today.
Came here, praise God.
I didn't hear you. I came here to praise God today.
I came here to praise God today.
I want to get a little supper
I want to get a little supper
from our teachers.
from our teacher.
But before I do that,
I
want to praise and worship.
I want to praise and worship.
I want to praise and worship.
I want to praise and worship.
If you need it, stand up and praise and worship.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You better back up your head.
Show us your kingdom. Reveal your kingdom. Show us your kingdom. Show us your kingdom. Reveal your kingdom. Show us your kingdom. One more time. Show us your kingdom. Reveal your kingdom. Show us your kingdom. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, you are holy. Yahuwah, 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 you are holy. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, which mic is this, huh? Which mic is this? Check. Turn it up some. Do a little volume. Matter of fact, use that. Check. All right, do that one. He giving the check on one. Go ahead. Check. That's good. Yeah. It's in the fan. I don't want it to be. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to get into something?
Hallelujah.
Trying to get the juices flowing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Trying to move around a little bit.
Yeah.
You see the shoulders move on me. Get them shoulders moving a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know? Give me that joy.
Give me that joy like the river. Give me that mercy I never deserved. Give me that love, God, the better. Yeah. Give me that sweet peace forever. Oh, there's nobody like God, like God. I'm talking about my God, my God. Yeah. There's nobody like God, like God. Yeah. I'm talking about my God, my God. Give me that joy like the river. Give me that mercy I never deserved. Give me that love, God, together. Hey. Give me that sweet peace forever. Oh, there's nobody like God, like God. Yeah. I'm talking about my God, my God. Yeah. There's nobody like God, like God. Yeah. Hey, I'm talking about my God, my God. Praise God, everybody. I gotta sing about you. Check it out. Your love is so amazing. Your love is so amazing. Your love is so incredible. Your love is so incredible. Your love is so amazing. Your love is so amazing. Your love is so incredible. Your love is so incredible. Never get enough of your love now. Never get enough of your love. Never get enough of your love now. Never get enough of your love. I'll never get enough of your love now. Never get enough of your love. Never your love. I'm never getting enough of your love. Never getting enough of your love. Never get enough, never get enough, never get enough, never get enough, never get enough. So good, it's so good, 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 so good, it's so good. He's so good. He's so good. He's so good. He's so good. So good. Yeah. So good. Never get enough of your love. Never get enough of your love now. Never get enough of your love. I never get enough of your love now. Never get enough of your love. Never get enough, never get enough, never get enough, never get enough, never get enough. Oh, good, yeah. He's so good. So good, yeah. He's so good. He's so good. He's so good. He's so good, yeah. He's so good. Yeah, 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 yeah. 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 Ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Never get enough of your love now. Never get enough of your love. Never get enough of your love now. Never get enough of your love. Never get enough of your love now. Never get enough of your love. Never get enough, never get enough, never get enough, never get enough, never get enough. All right.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I got some hard moving over there. No. Donald Lawrence. Y'all got them shoulders moving. Y'all feel that? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right, y'all. Now, we took y'all on the high, and we're gonna mellow y'all on out. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that no matter what situation, circumstances that you're going through, you gotta always remember that the Most High is there on your side. Right? He said, if you guard my Torah, then my Torah will guard you. So whatever situation you deal with, you above it if you keep his word. Right? We gotta hold on to the Most High to deliver us. Because a lot of times we try to deliver ourselves. We want to do this, we want to do that to get ourselves out of it. But that ain't the way. We gotta let him handle it. All right? So let's see what the song says.
Deliver me. It's all I seem to do is dirty.
Hallelujah.
Deliver me. It's all I seem to do is dirty. Deliver me.
I'm feeling something right now. I like that one bridge. He said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." Y'all say that? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Deliver me. Y'all believe that? Y'all believe that? He gonna deliver us? Deliver me. Let's sing it one more time then. Whoa, 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 whoa. Deliver me. Hallelujah. Deliver me. Hallelujah. 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 Play that anthem out.
God is special treat.
Hallelujah. 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 We had another mic, we'll give it to choir. Let's get through this one. We're gonna need everybody to do this one. All right. Everybody know how this will go, right?
Let's go, boy.
Sister Sarah, you want to come up here and grab one of these mics? Hold on. We ain't heard your voice graces in a while. Shalom.
Hallelujah. You have won it all for me. You have won the victory. Hallelujah. You have won it all for me. Now hold you. Hallelujah. You have won the victory. Sing again, hallelujah. Hallelujah. You have won it all for me. Yes. Death could not hold you down. You are the risen King. Seated in majesty. You are the risen King. Could not hold you. Hallelujah. You have won the victory. Hallelujah. You have won it all for me. Death could not hold you down. You are the risen King. Yeah. Seated in majesty. Yeah. Yeah. You are the risen King. Yeah. Death could not hold you down. No, yeah. You are the risen King. Seated in majesty. Seated in majesty. Yeah. You are the risen King. You are the risen. Seated in majesty. There you go, Elder Martin. There you go. You are the risen King. Go ahead, take it. You are the risen King. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You have won the victory. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You have won it all for me. Hold you down. You are the risen King. I gotta sing it like you mean. Come on. Seated in majesty. You are the risen King. Hallelujah. You have won the victory. Hallelujah. You have won it all for me.
Because that couldn't hold you down.
That could not hold you down. You are the risen King. Seated in majesty. You are the risen King. Death could not hold you down.
But you rose and you rose and you
You
rose
are
and you
the
rose.
risen
Yes, you are. Risen King, yeah.
Seated in majesty.
Seated on the right hand, yeah.
You are the risen King.
Hallelujah.
That's time.
Hallelujah. You have won the victory.
Hallelujah, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You have won it all for me.
Hallelujah.
All right. Hallelujah.
The music is messing us up. That's what it is.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Appreciate our singers. If y'all want it. You want it? Y'all want it? Y'all want Shema? I see like 3, 4, 5, 6 people saying Shema. Y'all want Shema?
Come on, fly.
Y'all want Shema?
Fly.
Y'all want Shema? I need y'all on y'all feet if y'all gonna get Shema. Y'all know I can't do Shema if y'all sit down. I can't do it. I don't know how to do that. Wireless, turn the wireless down. It's good. I don't know how to do Shema if y'all sit down. What's up, man? You ready? You want to sing it? Everybody want to sing it. I'm going to give you your opportunity today. All right? I'm going to give you your opportunity. You're going to sing today. All right? Ali want to sing Shema to y'all, so we're going to let him sing Shema. All right? Now, the majority of y'all feet, so I think we can go ahead and get this right. Brother said he need the rest for a second. It's all good. Y'all ready? Hallelujah! 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 Shema Israel, Yahuwah Elohim,
Y'all may be seated. The court of Yahuwah is now in session. The Honorable Judge Yahuwah is the presiding judge of this court. And we want to hear from him. Like you have one that accused you. Right? Let's get this good word in. By Moray, Elder Pastor B. Moray B. Oswald.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Mic check. Hello? Can y'all hear me yet?
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check.
All right. Hello? Here we go. Testing. 1 2.
Yo, check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yo, okay, it is. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2.
Is there any visitors in here today? No, I don't think so. No first time visitors.
Brother from Saved by the Bell here. Zach.
For the first time. 1 2. Mic check. Yeah, that's good right there.
Yo, check 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Check.
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yo.
Check.
Mic check.
Check. Mic check. Yeah. Shabbat shalom. How's everybody's week? Good? Pretty good? Excellent? Increase? So, what's that? All right, so we're gonna bring I got a little bit of something cooked up for y'all. A little morsel. Let's
Mute your phone. Real quick.
let's start off in John chapter 8.
Which one you want? You want that rich?
John chapter 8 and verse 32. So let me ask y'all this. We Like when we get involved in this walk, and we understand, when we become conscious of the fact that we are indeed of the nation of Israel, and that we must get back to the law, statutes, and commandments, right? We always say that we are in the truth, right? In the truth. So my question for you all today is, what is the truth? I heard the law, I heard Mashiach, I heard the word, Torah. Is there any one answer? No? There's a lot of answers? The word is truth. Right out the book. That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's start in John chapter 8, verse 32.
The book of John, or Yehukanan, chapter 8, at verse 32. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
So, saying you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So the question is that, I mean, we all want freedom. Freedom sounds like a good thing, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and according to this red writing here, which means these are the words of the Messiah himself, that if we know the truth is going to make us free. So what exactly does it mean to know the truth? Let me ask you that. Brother Larry. The law. Anything else? So you should know the law. Yeah? It says the law and Hamashiach and how they mesh together, how they intertwine. Okay? Follow the Messiah. Simply follow the Messiah. So, is that knowing the truth? What does it mean to know the truth? Believe it?
Relationship.
Is that enough?
Dang, my bad.
Repeat that for us, Trav. It's okay.
Okay.
I said to have a relationship with the truth.
To have a relationship with the truth. What type of relationship?
Intimate.
Healthy, intimate relationship, right? When the scriptures say that Adam knew his wife and she bear him a son, right? So that means that he had an intimate relationship with his wife, right? So when the two trees were in the garden, and the one tree was the tree of life, and the other one was the knowledge of good and evil. Not that the Most High didn't want us to know what good and evil was, but he did not want us to have a relationship with good. With evil, right? From the standpoint of the evil part, this is not even part of the lesson, but the evil part that they did was what? Plain and simple. It might not have been nothing particular about the fruit itself, but the fact that they disobeyed made them intimate with evil. Because now they knew disobedience, itself. So let's go to John chapter 18, verse 33. My bad. I ain't mean to go off on that, but it really had nothing to do with
Free. What is it?
the book of John chapter 18 and verse 33.
18:33. John, or Yehukanan, chapter 18 and verse 33. Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again, and asked Mashiach and said unto him, Are you the king of the Yahudim? Mashiach answered.
That's good. Verse 37.
Verse 37. Pilate therefore said unto him, Are you a king then? Mashiach answered, You say that I am a king. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth.
Or that word for witness there, it means to affirm. So when you affirm something, what does that mean to affirm something? Solidify, right? Right? So he came to affirm unto the truth, or bear witness unto the truth, right? Go ahead.
Everyone that is of the truth, hear my voice.
Everyone that is of the truth hears his voice, because he is our example, like I say, follow the Messiah, right? Verse 38.
Verse 38. Pilate said unto him, What is truth?
And Pilate asked him, what is truth? Because Pilate, being a Roman governor, right, was not well acquainted or had no intimate relationship with truth, right? So, but as we are in this walk in the faith, right? Get Psalms 119, 142. As we are in this walk in the faith, right? It is our not necessarily our job, but it should be our desire to have an intimate relationship with the law, right?
Yes.
With the truth. So you can't have a relationship with anything, with anyone, with whatever the case may be. You can't have a relationship without building, right? Like any type of friendship, any relationship that you have with a sibling, with your spouse, with your children, like without actually spending time with a person, there's no way to build relationship, right? So there's no way to be acquainted. There's no way to be to have to be able to even apply the things in our life. We can't know a person unless you spend time with a person. So understanding the same thing as it relates to the truth, to the Messiah, to the law, right? Like the ox say, intertwined and meshed together. If we don't spend time with it, like really involve and engulf ourselves in it, it's no way that we can be acquainted to the point where we know the truth, right? Psalms 119 and 142.
Psalms 119, 142. For your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your law is the truth.
And your law, right out the book, like Barry said, your law is the truth. So understanding that when you're in the truth, right, that we must be well acquainted or intimate relationship with the law. Grab Proverbs 13, verse 14.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 13, and verse 14. The law of the wise is a fountain of life.
So the law of the wise says a fountain of life, bringing life, right? When the Most High gave the commandments to the children of Israel, he said, I set before you now life and death. And then told us which one we should pick. Choose life, right? So that's what the law is. He gave us life and death. The law is a fountain of life. Go ahead.
To depart from the snares of death.
To depart from the snares of death. So being well acquainted or having an intimate relationship with the law would allow you to depart from the snares of death, right? Because it brings life. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So when the law was given to us, and he said life and death, right? So the life part was doing the law, right? When he said everything that you said, when the people chime back in with the Most High, he said everything that you said, we gonna do, right? That's the choose life, and the opposite would be choosing death, is to not do it, right? It's just simple as that. You do it, that's life. You don't do it, that's death. Plain and simple. Psalms 25 and verse 8.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, Cole, pick that song. You know what? That's not.
That's not Victoria.
Can we get?
Yeah, we good. 25 verse 8.
Psalms chapter 25, verse 8. Good and upright is Yahuwah. Therefore will he teach sinners in the way.
Therefore, he will teach sinners in the way, right? So we understand that, well, we get a little more clarity on the way, but I'm sure there's a lot of us that's already familiar with this, but for those of us that's not, we get a little more clarity. Go ahead.
The meek,
The who?
the meek
Uh-huh.
will he guide in judgment.
Will he guide in judgment? Go ahead.
And the meek will he teach his way.
And the meek will he teach his way. Hold that right there. Grab Psalms 37 and verse 11.
Psalms chapter 37, verse 11. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plot against the just.
That's good. And so it says in Psalms 37:11 that the meek shall inherit the earth. Going back to Psalms 25, let's start back at verse 9. And we know it also says that in Matthew chapter 5, it says, increased are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
Psalms 25 and 9. The meek will he guide in judgment.
The meek will he guide in. What does it mean to be meek? Humble, simply, right? Humble, like brought low, humble, like Paul touched on in his lesson about the pride, right? And the wheat, the difference between the wheat and the tares is that once they are mature, the tares stand up proud and the wheat bows down in humility. Yeah. Teachable. It's a good point. It's a very good point. Verse 10.
All the paths of Yahuwah
All
the paths of Yahuwah are mercy and truth unto such as keep his covenant and his testimonies. For your name's sake, O Yahuwah, pardon mine iniquity, for it is great. What man is he that fear Yahuwah? Him shall he teach in the way.
So the man that fears the Most High, it says, him shall he teach in the way that what?
That he shall choose. His soul shall dwell at ease, and his seed shall inherit the earth.
And his seed, there we go, the meek inheriting the earth once again. Acts chapter 9 and verse 1.
Say that verse.
Just that. Acts chapter 9 and verse 1.
Acts of the Apostles 9 and 1. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the master, went unto the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus, to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way.
What does that mean, any of this way? Any that follow the Messiah. So when the followers of the Messiah, were they called Christians? No. The sect of the Nazarenes, right? Or the way, right? Go ahead.
If he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound into Jerusalem.
No, when Shaul was going about persecuting those who followed the Messiah. So I want to grab out of the Strong's Concordance. Like I said, this is something we have touched on many times in the past. But for those who may not have heard this or who may not know, but the definition for Torah in the concordance is Hebrew number H8451, and it means law, direction, or instruction. So, like what Brother Larry said, in order to be meek, you have to be teachable, right? The law itself is instruction or direction, right? And H5771 is the word for iniquity. It means perversity, depravity, iniquity, guilt, or punishment of iniquity. And it comes from the word awah, H5753, which means to bend or to twist or to distort. So understanding this like very literal thing, right? The law being the way, right? So what did it say? What's the quickest way to get to a destination, right? Straight line. So if somebody came in here and they asked you, how do I get to Schaefer? Well, straight line, and you'll be the Schaefer, right? Is there another way to get to Schaefer? It's a bunch of ways to get to Schaefer. But the quickest way would be to go straight down 6 miles, right? And the word for iniquity comes from a word that means to twist or to bend or to distort. So if a road had what they call twists and turns or bends, right? You can still get somewhere, but it literally means to distort the way, right? So there's a way, Torah, and then when you bend and you distort that way, that's iniquity, right? Literally. So let's grab John chapter 14, verse 6.
John, Yochanan, chapter 14 at verse 6. Mashiach said unto him, I am the way.
I am what?
I am the way, the truth, and the life.
It said that the law was a fountain of life, right? That would save you from the snares of death. Go ahead.
No man come unto the Father, but by me.
The way, the truth, and the life, Messiah himself. John chapter 1, verse 19.
John chapter 1, verse 19. And this is the record of John, when the Yahudim sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, who are you? And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, I am not Mashiach.
So this is John the Baptist, right? When it says that the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him who he was, because he was out in the wilderness immersing people, right, in the Jordan. Go ahead.
And they asked him, what then? Are you Elijah? And he said, I am not. Are you that prophet? And he answered, no. Then said they unto him, who are you? That we may give an answer to them that sent us. What sayest you of yourself? And he said, I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness. Make straight the way.
Do what?
Make straight the way of the master, as said the prophet Isaiah.
So if you make straight the way, like I said, if iniquity means twists and turns and bends, right, in the way. So if you make straight the way, it means that you're bringing clarity to the instruction or to the law, right? Now this is John. He was, before Mashiach came, it was John that was making straight the way. Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 3. And we'll see where this came from.
Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 3. The voice of him that cry in the wilderness, prepare you the way.
Do what?
Prepare you the way of Yahuwah. Make straight in the desert a highway for our Elohim. Every valley shall be exalted. Every mountain and hill shall be made low. And the crooked shall be made straight.
And the what?
And the crooked shall be made straight. And the rough places plain. And the esteem of Yahuwah shall be revealed.
Who's the esteem of Yahuwah?
Mashiach.
Go ahead.
And all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of Yahuwah hath spoken.
Let's go Proverbs chapter 2. Chapter 2 and verse 10. But that was the prophecy from Isaiah speaking about John, that voice crying in the wilderness, making straight the crooked. Verse 10.
Proverbs 2 and 10. When wisdom enter into the heart. When wisdom entereth into the heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto your soul, discretion shall preserve you. Understanding shall keep you. To deliver you from the way, to deliver you from the way of the evil man, from the man that speak forward things, who leave the paths of unrighteousness.
Who does what?
Leaves paths of unrighteousness to walk in the ways of darkness.
Paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness. Go ahead.
Who rejoice to do evil and delight in the forwardness of the wicked, whose ways are crooked.
Whose ways are what?
Crooked. And they forward in their paths. to deliver you from the strange woman, even the stranger which flattereth with her words.
Even the stranger which flattereth with her words. Go ahead.
Which forsake the guide of her youth.
The what?
The guide of her youth.
So who would be the guide? If the law is the way, right? Exactly. The person that teaches the way would be the guide, right? Go ahead.
And forget the covenant of her Elohim. For her house inclined unto death, and her paths are unto the dead. None that go unto her return again, neither take they hold of the paths of life, that you may walk in the way of good men.
You may what?
Walk in the way of good men.
Okay, so the very first thing he says, when wisdom enter into your heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto your soul, discretion shall preserve you, and understanding shall keep you. So when you get all the way back down until verse 20, it says that you may walk in the way of good men and keep the paths of the righteous. Go ahead.
For the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it.
And what?
And the perfect shall remain in it.
Uh-huh.
But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it.
So we understand that even when the law was presented, right? I present to you life and good and death and evil. There's absolutely two paths that you can take. Like I say, broad is the way, right? To destruction. And be many there that find it. But the path to righteousness is what? It's what? Narrow and what? No. And straight and narrow, right? Proverbs chapter 9, verse 1. Let's go back to the lesson that Quad dropped the other week on was it the two trees? Two trees, right? The two trees, right?
Proverbs 9:1. Wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She killed her beast. She hath mingled her wine. She hath also furnished her table. She hath sent forth her maidens.
And we already established that when wisdom sent forth her maidens, those maidens were who?
The prophets.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Go ahead.
She crieth upon the highest places of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn in here. As for him that want understanding,
that's him that want what?
That wants understanding.
Uh-huh.
She say to him, come, eat of my bread, drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish and live. Go in the way of understanding.
Go in the way of understanding. Verse 13.
Verse 13. A foolish woman is clamorous.
Okay, so first we have wisdom. Now we have foolish woman. It's clamorous. What does it mean to be clamorous? Say again? Okay, go ahead. He said loud and talk a lot. Go ahead. Yeah.
A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple.
She is what?
She is simple.
And what?
And know nothing.
Uh-huh.
But she sit at the door of her house, on a seat in the high place of the city, to call passengers who go right on their way.
Now notice that, like the point that Quad made before, is that both are on the high places of the city, side by side, two paths, right? Go ahead.
Whoso is simple, let him turn in there. And as for him that want understanding, she say to him.
Now notice it's the same person. In both instances, it say he that is simple. Whoso is simple, let him turn in here. As for him that wants understanding, she says to him. Go ahead.
Stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant.
Now that's the difference. The one said, come and eat of my bread and drink of my wine which I have mingled. The other says, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. That's the difference in the two, right? Go ahead.
But he know not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell.
So, if both of these paths are in the same place, right? And you have, or these women, right? One foolish, one wisdom. And they're both saying the same thing, right? Offering bread and drink. How do you know which one to choose? Say again? The law? That's how you know? Anybody else? She didn't ask you to steal nothing. She said stolen waters are sweet. So how do you know? How do you know which one? I'm saying initially, when they both saying the same thing, come in here. Come in here. How do you know which one to choose? How do you know? How are you able to go ahead, sister? The law says you shouldn't steal.
Come on.
So based on what she's saying, you know that one is foolishness and one is wisdom. Yeah? Agree? Or you don't know? You don't know until when? Until you go there. Then you know. But how do you know which one to choose? Like what is your choice based on? How do you know? When they open their mouth, I agree. So how do you know which one to choose? Say again? Discernment of the law? Or you discern according to the law, yeah? Yeah? Can we agree on that? Yeah? So the question is, are you able to discern based on the law if you don't know the law? You completely unable to discern the difference between which is foolish and which is wisdom. Because another good point that was made is that the enemy is not, or the adversary or whomever is not showing up with horns and a pitchfork, right? Very subtle, right? When the serpent, go to Genesis 2:16. When the serpent showed up in the garden, they say the serpent was more what? More subtle than any other beast of the field. And he was definitely an adversary because he came and said something that was completely opposed to what Yah had commanded. So when this adversary comes in their subtlety, if you are not well versed in the law, you can easily choose the wrong choice. And it says, but he knows not that the dead are there and that her guests are in the depths of hell, right? Proverbs 9:18. Read that, Genesis 2:16.
Genesis 2:16. And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man.
He did what?
Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man,
He
saying,
commanded the man, saying what?
of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it. For the day that you eat thereof, you shall surely die.
What was the command? What? It was what? What was the command? Don't eat from the tree, right? That was the command. Don't eat from the tree, right? Genesis 3:1.
What about the you may freely eat from?
Yeah, you may freely eat from every. That is also the command. Was commanded.
Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahuwah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, yeah, have Elohim said you shall not eat of every tree in the garden?
No. So he knew, right?
Come here, baby.
Go ahead. Subtle. Sensible. Another, though he said another word for subtle that's used there. You looking at the definition? It says sensible. So it's reasoning involved. That's good. Because somebody would definitely try to make sense out of doing something foul, like stealing to feed your family. I'm trying to feed my family, but you breaking the commandment, right? It makes sense because you think you're doing a good thing by feeding your family, but you're doing something that's perverse by breaking the law, right? Go ahead.
And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim have said.
Say what?
Elohim have said.
Y'all have said what?
You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die.
You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it lest you die. Was that the command? So did Eve not know the commandment? It don't sound like she knew. It doesn't sound like she knew, but she didn't. I would say it doesn't sound like she understood from the standpoint of she added to what the commandment was. And this you're gonna see the I guess the problem with that. How that can be a problem. Go ahead. Because you think doing extra is good. Don't eat it or touch it. He said don't eat it or touch it. It's extra. So it's definitely a good thing, right? You putting the extra on the law. Go ahead.
And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. Come on now. But the Most High know that in the day that you eat thereof, that your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Now that was a half truth. Go ahead.
Which is a whole lot.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food.
When the woman saw that the tree was good for food, go ahead.
And that it was pleasant to the eye. And a tree to be desired to make one wise.
And she already had, the wisdom would have been staying away from it because she already knew that she wasn't supposed to eat of it, right? Go ahead.
She
did what?
She took of the fruit thereof.
So if Eve understood the commandment to be, don't eat it or touch it unless you're going to die. Once she touched it and didn't die, how do you think she felt? Yeah. Oh, if I touched it and ain't die, I can eat it and I ain't going to die either. Right? So that adding on to the commandment was a bad thing. Obviously, because now her understanding of what the commandment was to not eat or touch it skewed everything when she touched it and didn't die. But that wasn't the command. You follow what I'm saying? Go ahead.
And gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked.
Oh, that's good right there.
Can I add something real quick?
Go ahead.
So when you look at verse 6, it says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and pleasant to the eyes, right? Is this something like she like, oh man, now she never looked at it like that before, right?
She looked at it as a bad thing.
Exactly. But jump over and read verse 9. Genesis 2 and 9. It says, I read, out of the ground Yahuwah made to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. It was always pleasant to the sight. It was always good for food. It was just that you have to recognize that looked good too. To be and to still stay away from it. She never looked at it like that. So now she's like, oh man, it's good for food. It's pleasant to the sight.
Because like I said,
I
don't think that there was anything different about the tree. Like about the fruit. It was just a tree with fruit. I don't think that there was anything special about the fruit, other than the fact that Yah said, don't eat it. So once they broke the command by disobeying, that's what got them acquainted with evil, right? 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 7. Because a lot of times we rely on our own senses to give us, like you said, that subtlety, to give us what was the word? Did it say sensible? To make sense of something, we rely on our senses to make sense of something rather than relying on the scriptures or relying on the commandment, which is the instruction or the path or the direction, right? That's life itself. So if you rely on something other than what was presented for you to give you life, then it can only bring about death. Like I said, the choice was to do it and live or not do it and die, right? So there's no in between, there's no middle ground. So when you make sense to not do it, that's death. Go ahead.
What was it going?
2 Corinthians 5 and 7.
2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight.
Good. Hold that. No. Go to Proverbs chapter 3. So walking by faith and not by sight, right? Had Eve not relied on her eyes when she saw that the tree was good for food and pleasant and something to be desired for wisdom, right? Had she not relied on her eyes, but relied on her faith, understanding that I'm not supposed to mess with this fruit, period. Very simple. It's so simple that it's easy to screw up, right? Like it said in Proverbs chapter 9, it said that she says to the simple, come in here, right? Very simple. Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 7.
Proverbs 3 and 7. Be not wise in your own eyes.
Be not what?
Wise in your own eyes.
Uh-huh.
Fear Yahuwah and depart from evil.
So that's the same principle of not walking by faith, but walking by faith and not by sight. Proverbs 26 and 12. But walking by faith and not by sight, it says, be not wise in your own eyes, but fear Yah and depart from evil. So if we allow faith allow our faith, and we exercise our faith to the point where we allow faith to work as opposed to our senses or our eyes or our touch or our ears or our, any of that stuff, then it says that's departing from evil. When you fear the Most High, depart from evil. Be not wise in your own eyes to reason something into, I can do that because it looks good, right? Because that's what the tree was for them. It just looked good. But the command was simple, don't eat it. Right? The simplest thing. Proverbs 26:12.
Proverbs 26:12. See you a man wise in his own conceit.
So if you see a man that's wise in his own conceit or his own eyes, what does it say?
There is more hope of a fool than of him.
There's more hope for a fool than a man that's wise in his own eyes, right? That makes sense out of things according to his senses or his understanding, as opposed to what the book say. Lean not to your own understanding, right? Let's go 1 Samuel 16 and verse 6.
1 Samuel 16:6. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab.
And he did what?
That he looked on Eliab.
So this is when Samuel was going to choose a successor for Saul, right? He looked on David's brother Eliab. Go ahead.
And said, surely Yahuwah's anointed is before him.
Based on how he looked, right? Go ahead.
But Yahuwah said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For Yahuwah see not as man see. For man look on the outward appearance.
But
Yahuwah look on the heart.
Look on the heart. So he says that y'all don't see like men see. Let's go 2 Kings chapter 6. But he says that he not look at the outward appearance, but he looks at the heart, right? Same thing. If Eve had been paying attention to the intention of the serpent as opposed to how the tree looked, she could have avoided the whole thing, right? 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 8.
That's it. Grab the waters right there. 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 8. Then the king of Syria warned against Israel and took counsel with his servants, saying, in such and such a place shall be my camp. And the man of Elohim sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that you pass not such a place, for there the Syrians are come down. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of Elohim told him, and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once, nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing. And he called his servants and said unto them, will you not show me which one of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, none, my master, O king. But Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, tell the king of Israel the words that you speak in your bedchamber. And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he there horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about.
So they came, though, this horses and chariots and these soldiers came and compassed the city, right? Right? Y'all with me so far? Yeah. Verse 15.
And when the servant of that man of Elohim was risen early and gone forth, behold, a host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do?
So how did the servant feel when he rose up and he saw them compassing the city? He was afraid, right? So based on what he saw, he was afraid, right? We know that the scripture said that y'all didn't give us the what?
Spirit of fear.
Didn't give us a spirit of fear. Do we ever get afraid?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah? Why? Huh?
Devil's spirit on you.
Right. Say your flesh. When you're in your flesh, you say what? Lack of faith. Lack of faith brings about fear. Yeah? Okay. So everybody in here, like we in this walk, right? Yeah? We all in. So why are you afraid? Ever. Go ahead, keep reading. Verse 16.
And he answered, Fear not.
First thing he told him, don't be afraid. Fear not. Go ahead.
For they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
Uh-huh.
And Elisha prayed and said, Yahuwah, I pray you, open his eyes that he may see.
Open his eyes so he can see for real. Go ahead.
And Yahuwah opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses, chariots of fire, round about Elisha. And when they came to him, Elisha prayed unto Yahuwah and said, Smite this people, I pray you with blindness.
That's good. That's good right there. Let's grab Romans 8:31. So we understand that he was afraid, and the first thing that the prophet told him was, don't be afraid. Like it's more that's with us than with them. And he prayed and asked the Most High to open his eyes. And once his eyes were open, he was able to see all the horses and the chariots of fire that was round about surrounding the people who had compassed the city to try to take them, right? So if you understand off rip, if we're not worried about what we see with our own eyes, but everything is based on our faith, then we should automatically know that if Yah is on our side, right, then there's no reason to be afraid, right? Romans 8:31.
Romans chapter 8, verse 31. What shall we say to these things? If Elohim be for us, who can be against us?
Who can stand against you if Yah be for you? Isaiah 54:7. Who can stand against you? So if you understand that there is not one that can stand against you if Yah is for you, right? But in order for him to be for you, you have to have a relationship with him. Yes or no?
Yes.
And without that intimate relationship with him, without being on that path or in that way, there's no way that you can have a relationship with the Most High. He will not be for you, right? It's very simple. You choose him, follow his directions, it's leading you to the place, right? And he gonna be there for you. Like your whole way on the way to the place, he right there with you, even though you can't see him with your physical eyes, right? Isaiah 54:17.
Isaiah 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper.
So we know, we read this all the time, right? I mean, we have read this many times in the past. So no weapon formed against you shall prosper, right? Does that mean there's not going to be any weapons formed against you? No, because clearly these men had compassed the city, right? With horses and chariots, and they came, like it said in verse 10, the king of Assyria warred against Israel, right? They was coming for war. So the weapons were formed, but if you are in the way, then you don't have to worry about those weapons prospering, regardless of the weapon. That's the simplest principle. There's no reason to be afraid. There's no reason to have fear because it's not going to happen. right? Joshua 1 and 8.
Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate therein day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then shall you make your way prosperous.
So you do what?
Make your way prosperous.
Uh-huh.
And then you shall have good success.
So that goes back to the point that I brought up in the very beginning, right? If you meditate therein day and night, if you spend the time day and night with any person, with anything, you develop what? Simple as that. A relationship. That's the whole point. Because if we don't do that, right? And then when that subtle attack comes and we don't have this like relationship with the word and we're not rooted in it, and it could be something that you are unaware of that could cause you to stray off the path because you don't know. Because you just like you're not like I say meditating therein day and night. It's not a simple thing. Like when you first come into this walk, right? We're very reluctant. Well, I'll say this, even in the church, like you was reluctant to read your word like on a consistent basis, right? Like you like going to church was good enough. Yeah. Like when you went to church, that was enough. And I think that a lot of times in the faith that we fall into that same trap, so to speak, that we think that just showing up to Shabbat class is enough. But what you do for the rest of the week, you know what I'm saying? How your prayers like? How is your meditating on the word? What is it like? Like, are you so busy in your life that you disregard the rest of the week? Right? So if you only saw your child or your parent or your spouse one day a week, right? What type of relationship would you have? What? Say that again. Distant, right? I was thinking that. A distant relationship, right? What's one thing that we are well aware of about distant relationships?
They don't work.
They don't. So if your relationship with the word is a one day a week type of thing, your relationship also is distant. So your relationship will not work, right? When Matthew chapter 4, when the Messiah was led up by the Ruach to be tested in the wilderness, right? And the adversary came and he tested him and everything that he told him. What was his response? He gave him the scriptures, right? For it is written. For it is written. All his responses were, for it is written. So that when you are faced with that same adversity and somebody tries to come at you in that subtle way, that's how you're supposed to answer. Nah. But if you don't know what's written, you can't answer with what's written, right? Grab Proverbs chapter 18. Proverbs 18 and 28. Yeah, Proverbs 18, 28. Psalms 18, 28.
I was trying to make sure
I
y'all
was
knew y'all
testing
word.
y'all.
He just said
I
y'all
was
be in
testing
y'all.
y'all. Maccabees passed the test. I was testing y'all.
Second Proverbs.
Psalms 18 and 28.
Psalms 18:28. For you will light my candle. Yahuwah my Elohim will enlighten my darkness.
We'll do what?
Will enlighten my darkness.
Proverbs 20 and 27.
Proverbs 20 and 27. The ruach of a man.
The what?
The ruach of a man
Uh-huh.
is the candle of Yahuwah.
Is the what?
The candle of Yahuwah.
Uh-huh.
Searching all the inward parts of the belly.
Verse 20.
Verse 20. Whoso curses his father or his mother, his lamp shall be put out in obscure darkness.
So cursing your father and mother is what?
Yeah.
Is what? Breaking the commandment, right? So it says that whosoever curses father and mother, his what?
His lamp shall be put out in obscure darkness.
And in verse 27, it says that the ruach of a man is what?
The candle of Yahuwah.
So if your lamp put out in obscure darkness for breaking the commandment, and it says that the ruach of a man is the candle of Yahuwah, what does that mean for you when you break the commandment?
There's no light in it.
Extinguished, that light is extinguished, right? Grab Proverbs 13 and 9.
Proverbs 13:9. The light of the righteous rejoice, but the lamp of the wicked shall be put out.
Same situation, right? The lamp of the wicked shall be put out. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 14. Right.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world.
You are the what?
The light of the world.
Uh-huh.
A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
Uh-huh.
Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it gives light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and esteem your Father which is in Shamayim.
So what is this statement? That if you are the light of the world, it says that neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick and give it light, so that it may light the whole house. What is it? What is this saying? Say again. Say one more time. Yeah, don't suppress it, right? If you are the light of the world, what's lighting on the inside of you? That's right, shining through, right? Don't suppress it, right? You like if you ever get around certain friends or certain family members, and you have a tendency to suppress, like you don't want to talk about the Most High. Like we're not supposed to do that. Period. It says in verse 16, it says, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and esteem your Father, which is in Shamayim, right? Let's get Romans chapter 2 and verse 17, and we'll close out.
Romans chapter 2 and verse 17. Behold, you are called a Yahudim, and rest in the law.
And do what?
And rest in the law. And make your boast of Elohim. And know his will.
And do what?
And know his will. And approve the things that are more excellent. Being instructed.
Being what?
Being instructed out of the law. And are confident.
And are what?
And are confident that you yourself are a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, who has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. You therefore which teach another, teach you not yourself? You that preach a man should not steal, do you steal? You that say a man should not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You that abhor idols, do you commit sacrilege? You that make your boast in the law.
And that's what we do, right? That's the difference that we make between us and other Bible believers, right? Go ahead.
You that make your boast in the law, through breaking the law, dishonor you Elohim. For the man of Elohim is blasphemed. For the name of Elohim is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written. For what circumcision verily profit, if you keep the law? But if you be a breaker of the law, your circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the circumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? Shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge you, who by the letter and circumcision do transgress the law? For he is not a Yahudim, who is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, but is outward in the flesh. But he is Yahudim, which is one inwardly.
Inwardly, go ahead.
And circumcision is that of the heart in the Ruach, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of Elohim.
So, like we were just saying, like I was just saying, not to suppress, right? That light that's inside. Allow it to shine through your good work so that you esteem the Most High through that, right? And as it stands, the point being, if we are not acquainted or have that intimate relationship with the Word and spend the time with it to develop that relationship, there's no way that when the tests and the trials come, that we able to stand in the face of adversity because we don't know. So make sure that you recommit yourself to, I guess, developing that relationship on a daily basis, not a weekly thing. Because there's no good relationship happens if it just deals once a week. But it's a daily thing, right? Y'all with me? Okay. Any questions?
Go ahead. Oh, hey, Matt.
Check.
Thank you, brother.
After coming out of Christianity, sometimes there's things that you don't notice till now, and there's something I didn't notice till now, and it's probably even, of course, back further. But Romans 2:17, I noticed it talks about Yahudim, and I was wondering if he's addressing Yahudim, but what is the reason why it doesn't speak to Israel as a whole?
Because it was that's what he was addressing, the people, I guess, of the southern tribe, the southern tribes, the southern kingdom rather, as opposed to those of the northern kingdom.
Okay, so it was just specifically because he was writing a physical letter to them.
Yeah.
But what he was saying applied to all those who are
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like that Romans 15:4. So all scripture is given for doctrine, for truth, for this or that. But when we read in Isaiah, it was addressed specifically to those people for that time. It was, you know what I'm saying? Like those specifics were dealing with those people. But now that we on the outside looking in, we go back and read it and say, that applies to me too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why, because that was addressed to Jesus talking about to all of Israel.
Yeah.
And the strange point,
Yeah.
but that's why I was wondering why it said that even though he was writing a letter to Yahudim, who was
Okay,
area,
yeah.
that
That's
still
it.
applies to Israel.
Absolutely.
Right. Right.
I wanted to kind of like go back to that Eve in the garden with the tree thing. So what B read in Joshua 1, right, where it says to meditate on his law day and night, right? This is how you build a relationship with what you read, right? If you just skim through the law and you don't meditate on to meditate on Genesis 2 when he says that he made every tree. Oh, okay, let me go back. Let's look at something real quick. So Genesis 2:9, he says, and out of the ground made Yahuwah Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Right? So the tree of the knowledge of good and evil looked good for food, and it was pleasant to the sight. The tree of life looked good for food, it was pleasant to the sight. And both of them was where? In the midst. Right? So to meditate on him saying, don't eat of it, would mean to analyze the tree. You have to look at it. You got to be able to look at it and say, man, this one look like this, and this one look like this. This look like it's good for food. This one look like it's good for food. So it's not a shocker to you. When we come into the truth, we get to a point where we dogmatically make things completely evil. Right? Oh, this is so bad. This is so. But then once you finally get a brush or a touch of that evil, you're like, man, it feels good. Right? Because you didn't meditate on what he was saying. He said beauty is vain. It's not that the beauty ain't beauty, but you need to meditate on why he said beauty is vain. You know what I'm saying? So because they weren't in the state of meditating on what he told them and believing it, having a relationship with him saying, don't do this, don't do that, they couldn't fully understand why not. So when somebody presented something else to them that also looked good, it's like, let me try that. So that's to say that Joshua 1:8, meditate on his law day and night. It's not just for you to go in there and say, oh yeah, Exodus, such and such, such and such, and just read it. Meditate on it. What is it saying? What is the message that it's trying to convey to you about what he's talking about? Like we spoke in Bible study about when you look at the parables of Mashiach, right? And the parable of the mustard seed, like what my aunt broke down moons ago. And a lot of times we all thought that the mustard seed was as long as you have a little bit of faith, right? As long as you got a little bit of faith, you can do anything. You can move mountains, you can, right? But nobody really meditated on that to say, why would he say have the faith of a mustard seed? So to meditate on that, what should you do? Somebody, what should you do to meditate on him saying, have the faith of a mustard seed? Research the mustard seed, right? So when you research the mustard seed, what do you find out? That the trees are large? Nope. They do what? What spreads? But what about the mustard seed though? Everything else becomes it. So if you plant a mustard seed with greens, what does the greens become? Mustard greens. Whatever you plant with mustard, it becomes the mustard. The mustard don't become that. It becomes the mustard. The mustard never changes what it is. So when he's telling you to have the faith of a mustard seed, he's telling you to have unchanging faith, right? Not wavering. And it's like, if you didn't meditate on that, you would look at the mustard seed like, well, as if I just had this little bit of faith. But the weightier matters of the law is what? Mercy, judgment, and faith. Why would he want you to have a little bit of faith? Where does that make sense at? All through the book, have faith, faith, faith. Yeah, all you need is a little bit of faith. No. I don't want you. What you say? Oh, you of little faith. That was derogatory. That wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you of little faith. Good job. No. Right? Unchanging. So when you're going through and you reading this stuff and you taking in this law to have a relationship with it, you have to meditate on it. Look at the message that it's trying to convey. That's all I'm saying.
Like the uncle was saying about the tree. What's the difference with the tree? It's the subtle thing that's in it. All the rest of the trees was good for food. It was good for food as well, but it had something that the rest of them didn't have. It had evil in it. right? It looked good, but it's disguised. So all through the book, if you actually pay attention, you have the same remedy through the book. Let's get Matthew chapter 23, verse 27. Remember, just like the trees is always close by each other, right?
Matthew 23:27. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness.
So the coffin looks beautiful on the outside, right? Same thing we get like the dope dealer. He got the casket, that's a Benz, painted sweet, and it's all nice, but inside it's full of dead men's bones. That tree is full of death, like he read in that Proverbs. You know what I'm saying? She said, come here, but you don't know underneath here is death here. You know what I'm saying? But it looks beautiful. So we get the revelation, we see the same thing. The woman who decked in the precious gold. Matter of fact, get that Revelation 17. 17 about verse 5.
Revelation 17 and verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written.
Go back some. Verse 4.
Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones.
All beauty. Read.
And pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations.
Full of what?
Abominations.
So only thing that you see is what? The golden cup. But what's in it?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? All we see is the ace of spade bottle. Or the Moet bottle. But what's in it is death inside of you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's gonna get you, your eyes, deceive you because it looks beautiful. And it's gonna speak what you really want to hear anyway. You know what I'm saying? What's in you already is the reason that you're gonna get got.
You got the picture on Facebook, the one woman who's dressed modestly, right? And you're like, okay. You got the other woman who dressed kind of modest, but she got her cleavage all out, showing all her parts. And she got clothes all over everywhere in the background, and food on the ground, and But what men gonna pay attention to the most? You gonna look at the cleavage. You gonna look at the curves. You ain't paying attention to this woman. House is a mess. You know what I'm saying? So, like he said, it's just paying attention to detail, doing what the man say, build a relationship with what he say do. You know what I'm saying? Go for what you know. Know the scriptures. Questions? No.
Okay, so there was a question about circumcision on here. It says, is it a physical or a circumcision of the heart? So it has to be both. Like, the question is, should you be circumcised, or should you be circumcised? Absolutely, that's part of the covenant. Circumcision is part of the covenant.
It's of the heart as well.
Yeah, of the heart as well, but physically and spiritually.
Once a person circumcises their heart, it'll be in them to want to get the physical circumcision anyway.
I think that's it. All right. Do it.
You said what? Oh man, no. No. We talking about what a rock. Go to the shot.
So that says, somebody break down 1 Timothy.
Under that circumcision question. There was one right under that. Who are the two witnesses? And then you said, somebody said break down Timothy, right?
Yeah, someone that said, can you break down 1 Timothy 1 and 4? There you go. Can you educate me or explain 1 Timothy 1 and 4?
Okay. Cool.
We want to know about the two witnesses. And then we're going to answer this one first. And then put it down. So, who are the two witnesses? Or do you want to go into that? I can go into it. We're going to deal with this Timothy 1 and 4 first. And then First Timothy 1 and 4. You got it in there. What is that?
It says, to remain in Ephesus in order to command some not to teach differently, nor to pay attention to fables and endless genealogies, which cause disputes rather than Take this everything.
No, it's how to live. It's not so it's how to
So the question was, what did it say? Can you educate me or explain 1 Timothy 1 and 4? Read it out of there.
1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 4. Neither giving heed to fables. Are you want me to read verse 3?
You can read 3.
Verse 3. As I besought you to abide still at Ephesus, when I went to Macedonia, that you might charge some that they teach no other doctrine, neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies, which minister questions, rather than godly edifying, which is in the faith. So do.
So, not really sure what part. I mean, it's pretty plain, I think. But it sounds like Paul is instructing Timothy not to, it says not to teach a different doctrine other than the one that he gave.
In verse 1 and 2.
And it says that in verse 4, nor pay attention to fables and endless genealogies, where in the Hallelujah it says, which cause disputes, rather than an administration of Elohim, which is in belief. So this is like a direct instruction to Timothy, probably dealing with something that he was dealing with as he was teaching.
Read verse 1 and 2.
Verse 1 says, Shaul, an emissary of Yeshua HaMashiach, according to a command of Elohim, our Savior, and the Master, Yeshua HaMashiach, our expectation, to Timothy, a genuine child in the belief, favor, compassion, peace from Yahuwah, our Father, and from Yeshua HaMashiach, our Master. As I appeal to you when I went into Macedonia
So he's talking to Timothy and he's telling him that this is what you do. Go ahead.
to remain in Ephesus, in order to command some not to teach differently,
I want you to stay there so you can monitor what's being taught. Go ahead.
nor pay attention to fables and endless genealogies which cause disputes.
So he's saying that when they preaching these fables or these genealogies, it's not edifying. It's doing nothing but causing contention. You know what I'm saying? And with that contention, there's no understanding that comes from that. So just like how cats do today, you go through endless genealogy, go, where you from? And what this do? And what tribe? And what this? And what that? You're not getting the shootout out of none of that. You're not getting salvation out of none of that. You're not getting grace, hope, peace out of none of that. All it is arguments and arguments. Oh no, but I'm from this tribe because of this. Oh no, I'm from this. Right?
Verse 5 says, now the goal of this command is love from a clean heart, from a good conscience, and a sincere belief, which some, having missed, turned aside to senseless talk.
This is what it's about. Not to have this senseless talk. We trying to get people to have faith. We trying to get people to believe. We trying to have people have a good conscience. And you steady talking about, or people are talking about, well, brother, my daddy, uncle, cousin, brother, sister was really Moses. They're like, nah, because your uncle, sister, cousin, brother, daddy wasn't even there. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense.
It says, wanting to be teachers of Torah, understanding neither what they say nor concerning what they strongly affirm.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I said. I think that was it. Oh, and 2 witnesses.
All right, 2 witnesses. So I previously believed that this was Enoch and Elijah, right? That this is before getting understanding about declaring the end from the beginning. So I don't stand with that that belief anymore, right? So let's get Revelation chapter 11. Pick it up at verse 3.
Revelation 11:3. And I give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees, and the 2 candlesticks, standing before Elohim of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceed out of their mouth.
What comes forth?
Fire proceed out of their mouth.
Notice what it says, that if any man shall hurt them, fire proceeds out of their mouth.
And devour their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in his manner be killed. These have the power to shut Shamayim.
Have the power what?
To shut Shamayim.
That
it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn into blood.
So we know that Moses and Elijah had some of these powers, right? This is why I make it feel like they may be it, but can't be Moses because these prophets died. Moses already died once. It's impossible. He can't die again. Rule Moses out, right? Read.
And have power over waters to turn them into blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that is sent out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them.
And do what?
And kill them.
And kill them. So, again, this completely rules Moses out of the equation with this. All right? Isaiah says, declaring the end from the beginning. Therefore, the witnesses have to show up in the beginning. Right? Get me on Genesis chapter 11, verse 6.
Genesis 11 and verse 6. And Yahuwah said, behold, the people is one.
The people are what?
The people is one.
The people are one. Read.
and all have one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down.
Let us do what?
Let us go down.
Let us go down. So it's not just him, but it's somebody that's with him. So if we follow the patterns all through the book, you'll see the same thing. Read that verse again.
Go to, let us go down. Let us go down and confound their language.
Let us do what?
Let us go down and confound their language.
Let us go down and confound their languages. Let's go to Genesis chapter 18, verse 1.
Genesis 18:1. And Yahuwah appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, their men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself towards the ground, and said, My master, if now I have found favor in your sight, pass not away, I pray you, from your servant.
Read verse 2 again.
And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him.
How many?
3 men stood by him.
So we got Yah and somebody with him, right? 2 angels with him, right? This is his witnesses. That's always with him. That's coming down to convey it and see it, because it's got to be by 2 or 3 witnesses, right? So we got the 3 right here, right? Let's jump over to Genesis chapter 19, pick it up at verse 11.
Genesis 19:11. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door.
So these angels right here smote the people with blindness. They got power. Read.
And the men said unto Lot, Have you there any besides, son-in-law, and your sons, and your daughters, and whatsoever you have in the city, bring them out of this place.
And side note, these people is blind, and they still trying to get at them. They didn't even stop to think about their eyes. It's gone. Their sight is gone. They so bent on sin, doing this wickedness, that they still trying to get at them. Think about how deep that is. Read.
For we will destroy this place.
We will do what?
Destroy this place.
Read.
Because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah hath sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for Yahuwah will destroy the city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his son-in-law, one that mocked unto his son-in-law. And when the morning arose, the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take your wife, your 2 daughters which are here, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, Yahuwah being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth, set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for your life.
Do what?
Escape for your life.
Yeah.
Look not behind you, neither stay you in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest you be consumed. And Lot said unto them, O not so, my master. Behold, now your servant hath found grace in your sight, and you have magnified your mercy, which you have showed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Behold, now the city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape there. Is it not a little one, and my soul shall live? And he said unto him, See, I have accepted you concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city, for the which you have spoken. Haste you, escape there, for I cannot do anything till you come there.
Do what?
I cannot do anything till you come there.
So we notice that the 2 witnesses in the Revelation had power. If anybody spoke against them, that they could kill you with what? Fire, right? Sodom and Gomorrah, we know what happened to it. These 2 angels brought the fire down from Yah and Yah's commandment. So when we get to the New Testament, when the Mashiach go there, let's see if I can find it. Matthew chapter 28, I believe.
Matthew chapter 28,
Verse 1.
verse 1. And the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake. For the angel of Yahuwah descended from Shamaim, and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. And his countenance was lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and become as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the woman, fear not you, for I know that you seek the Mashiach which was crucified. He is not here, but he is risen. And he said, come see the place where the master lay.
So we got the angels here again. It's actually clear in one of the other gospels. But go to Acts chapter 1.
You said it was two of them in this song.
Yep, it's two of them. I think it's Acts chapter 2.
Acts 2 and 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came down a sound from Shamaim, as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them as cloven tongues like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them. And they were filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, and began.
Hold on a second.
What you looking for?
I want when they saw him go up. When he went into the Shamaim.
It's one, ain't it?
I think this is one. One moment.
That's one.
I think it's actually one.
Yeah.
All right, pick it up at
Yeah, here you go. 1 and 9. It says, and when he had spoken these things, this Acts 1 and 9, I'm sorry. And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up. Talking about Mashiach. And a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward Shamaim as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel.
and what?
In white apparel.
These are two angels right here. The same two angels that saw him arise from the dead, the same two angels that watches him go up. The same two angels, I believe, from the very beginning are the same two angels, but they are angels, and I don't believe nobody can put a name on them and say, this is Gabriel and Michael, or whatever the case be. It's just two angels as far as I can see, but I can't put a name on them. So these two angels been there from the very beginning. Yes.
It's just like when they was on the earth, they were flesh. They were the appearance of flesh. They were like regular men. You know what I'm saying? And just like Mashiach came down and was made of regular flesh and died, same thing with them.
Exactly. They're gonna have the same thing after 3 days. They're gonna rise like he did.
Yep. Them is day ones right there.
Somebody talking about the Shabbat. Somebody said, why did you keep Shabbat from Sunday to Sunday? I want to go into that. Set the questions up here.
Why don't we begin this Sabbath? Okay, so the question about why we don't keep Shabbat, why we don't begin Shabbat sunset Friday. I would instruct them to watch the full teaching because it's more than just go over in these quick little 5 minutes. But it's a teaching on the YouTube page called Understanding of Days, and it'll break it all the way down for you. Synopsis is that according to Genesis, matter of fact, just grab it real fast. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 5. Genesis chapter 1 verse 5.
Genesis 1 and 5. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning was the first day.
Read it again.
And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Okay, so the evening and the morning were the first day. That's how we read in the King James Version. In the Hallelujah, it reads, Elohim called light day and darkness night, and darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, day one. So we understand that the evening and the morning were the first day is just bad translation in the King James Version. Then it says it came to be evening, and then it came to be morning, meaning that when the Most High was doing his creating, it was daytime, and then the evening came, and then the morning came, and that was the completion of the day. It's the same word that they use when the Most High breathed into man's nostrils the breath of life, and it says, and he became a living soul. So if it became evening, it had to be just understanding how a day works, a 24-hour period, that we have 4 parts. We got morning, we got daytime, we got evening, and we got nighttime. So if it became evening, it means it had to be a daytime already. Also, when we read, I think it's Mark. Yeah, we can do that too. So and then Genesis 2 and 1. Go ahead and read that.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day, Elohim ended his work.
And what?
Elohim ended his work.
On what?
On the 7th day, which he had made, and rested on the 7th day.
On the 7th what?
On the 7th day.
So there's no 6th evening. There's no This is not the evening before. This is on the 7th day. Go ahead.
And on the 7th day, Elohim ended his work which he had made, and rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim increased the 7th day, and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made.
On the 7th day. Also, when we go to, is it Deuteronomy? Exodus 16. I believe. No.
And notice out of thousands and thousands of chapters and verses, there is no mention ever of Sabbath night. Keep that in mind. Out of thousands and thousands of verses, chapters, all of this stuff, they don't never say Sabbath night.
And like I said, it's just real brief, but I would recommend watching the whole lesson because it's way more clear and it's a lot to digest. So that would be my suggestion to I didn't see who asked that question.
King Reeves.
Yeah, that would be my Keeney Reeves. That would be my suggestion is to watch the teaching called Understanding of Days. That it? Okay. All right. Gathering next week. Right?
Yes, sir.
It is upon us. We should have our shirts to be done probably Friday. Are we still doing practice? Yeah.
Gotta get some things together though, right? About the
You said pricing between the two.
Okay. So there will be, if you want fringes, put on your shirt, and we'll be people doing fringes. You're gonna do it at the before. I don't know if they'll be back. Go. Yeah, I don't know if they'll be back this probably earliest they'll be back this Friday.
Gotta give her a pay incentive to do them day up.
All right. So if you haven't registered, please do so. If you would like to attend, for anybody watching, it's next week here in Detroit. All the information is on eventbrite.com, and it's also on Facebook, Hebrew Town Gathering Detroit. You just search that on both of them. Am I leaving it? Oh, want to announce also, Sister Wanda, please raise your hand. Sister Wanda would like the sisters to see her after class. She want to discuss something with y'all, just as far as trying to get stuff situated. Yeah, yes, Sister Michelle? You say so? Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else?
Share that song, y'all. Share that song, Chosen Seed just dropped. Everybody share it. If you like it, share it. If you don't like it, share it too. No, but everybody share it. Let's support one another. We got a big gathering coming up, man. You know what I'm saying? It's time to get hyped.
What's up, brother?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he play it.
Yeah, I play it right after we pray out.
All right. All right, let's pray.
Chosen Seed Volume 1 mixtape coming out soon. Y'all make sure y'all pre-order.
All right, good.
Yes, sir. Time to pray, son.
Father, y'all, we come before you. Once again, thank you, Father, for this day, for the Shabbat, Father, which is a sign between you and your people, Father. Father, we thank you for the word that went forth, Father. We pray that you would fall on the hearts of your people, Father. We receive with gladness, Father, that you would be careful to supply us with the increase, Father. Father, we pray and ask, Father, that you would just help us to continue to strengthen our relationship with you, understanding that we must continue to develop our relationship as we progress in this walk and this truth, Father. Father, we pray that you allow your Ruach, Father, to be with us, Father, so that we can be used as vessels for your word to flow through, Father. That we can speak a word of power and strength unto your people who might still be in darkness, Father. Father, we pray that you would just be with us on this week, proceeding up into this gathering, Father. There will be a joyous occasion, Father, that we can all meet brothers and sisters for the first time and get acquainted with, and we can continue to sup with brothers and sisters who we have met in the past, Father, and that relationships will continue to strengthen and grow. Ultimately, we pray that it will just be a family affair, Father. We promote family and love amongst the nation, Father, and amongst the brotherhood and sisterhood, Father. Father, we also just ask that if anybody is ailing, Father, be it physically, mentally, or spiritually, Father, that you would allow healing to go forth, Father. Allow them to understand what it is that is ailing them, Father, and allow healing to go forth as you see fit. All these things we pray with your thanks. So be it.
So be it.
Hallelujah, Shabbat Shemayim.
Hallelujah, Shabbat Shemayim.
Ikado, Shenka, Tabo, Rakuka, Yease, Ratsonka, Ba'arex, Kanashir, Nasha, Rashamayim, Tain Ranu, Ayom, Niki, Ikan, Muslat, Ranu, Ek, Rashmatenu, Kanashir, Sokim, Manaku, Jashir, Ashmu, Lanu, La'a, Tabinu, Mede, Masa, Ki, E, Hasalami, Ni, Kara, Ki, Laka, Amon Laka, Wahadi Bora, Rahati Fare, Gome, Ulami.
Fellas, how do y'all do? Men's meeting, Sunday, my crib. Be there as early as 5 o'clock. The meeting is going to start at 7 o'clock. So 7 o'clock. We won't be starting the meeting at 8 like we did last week. We starting the meeting on time. Hopefully it don't rain. I have created shelter